mic. You got a pro mic.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Gosh,
You'll get into that shit guaranteed soon. I'm just getting into it. Getting into it. So fun.
We actually got a guy that rents out our back room to do podcasts. He's been doing that for maybe 6 months. So he's all set up. Well, actually, he just had a kid, so he's taking a breather right now. But yeah, he had a set up back there, and it was pretty cool.
Nice. Are you in the space now?
Yeah.
Is this separate? Do you guys live there as well?
No. This is just a commercial building we bought maybe 4 years ago now.
Sweet.
It's hilarious.
Oh my god.
No, it was
like, fuck it. Let's just do it right now. Let's do it live.
Yeah, fuck it, do it live. No, I'm pumped because I got a lot of work done, so it actually worked out better this way. Because I'm going on holidays on next week. I'm going on holidays, so I'm glad I got what I got done. So
sweet. What were you working on? Okay, cool. So
anyways,
yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, any other stuff that you could talk about though that you've been working on recently? I think I saw.
Yeah, we could.
I'll bring one thing up that I think I saw because I was talking to my buddy Zucker, who's still in Thunder Bay.
Okay.
And obviously, I was there for a little bit, but I don't know if I had a bunch of crew, like a lot of guys from my crew from back home who were also there, but they went to Lakehead. And I even went to Lakehead for a little bit for like 2 years.
Okay.
So Zucker was one of the guys who actually stayed back and hung around. He did some other stuff, but he ended up back in Thunder Bay. And he's there now. And he was on episode 2 and 3. It was comparing 1994 versus 1999 movies.
Okay.
And he was drinking, what's the commercial that you guys just did for the
Sleeping Giant?
Sleeping Giant. He was drinking one. I was like, what are you drinking there? And it was one of their kinds. And I was like, I think my buddy just did I saw one of those commercials or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I got to get him. Because I reached out not too long ago and I was just like, oh, what the fuck's going on? It's been so long or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity just to like catch up and see what's going on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very cool.
So you shot that. It was a good commercial, man. It was good. I like the style.
Thanks. Yeah, it was interesting. For us, like kind of like the golden goblet is to do a beer commercial, right? Because my goals shifted from when I was a kid to doing a big feature film to doing a Super Bowl ad. And the best Super Bowl ads are beer commercials, right? So Sleeping Giant's been around Thunder Bay for a while, and we've wanted to work with them for years, and the opportunity came up, and it was a really cool collaboration because we collaborated with the owners of the company, but also Heather Cranston from Pulp and Paper, who does like all the design work. So that was really fun to just kind of come up with this concept. Given COVID and all that stuff that's going on, it's tough being sensitive around all that stuff, right? But yeah, it was.
Oh, you guys did it it's that fresh kind of thing.
It's that fresh. That's why you notice there's only like one actor in every frame except the girl in the sandbox who catches the beer.
Honestly, dude, I didn't even notice, wasn't even focused on that. I just kind of enjoyed like the subtle comedy and
okay.
Sure. No idea.
Awesome. That's kind of what we were going for. Because we don't want it to be don't want to put a timestamp on it, right?
For sure. That's the goal, I think, for any, not just COVID, I think that's for any great filmmaker, right? I always wanted my shit to be timeless. I'm like, no, it's not what it's about right now. It's like, I want this still to be good later when I go back to revisit it.
For sure. Right? Yeah. And that's what we tell a lot of our clients. So let's look at what the shelf life is of this. If we focus on commercial work. So if we do a commercial, you should be able to use it for 2 to 3 years before you want to start to update.
100%. And especially if I kind of have an example of that. I did a commercial for these clients out of Dallas for Interstate Batteries. I acted in one. Did I show you that?
I loved it. You got the gimp foot. That's fantastic.
I have very few claims to fame because I don't go out for auditions that often because I'm busy doing location managing work. And
Okay.
that's a constant guaranteed paycheck. You know what I mean? So acting is just kind of like a fun thing. Oh yeah. They re-upped my commercial. So I did it once, and then they bought it again like the second year. And hell, I'm hoping just because of COVID times that they're like, you know what, let's just buy it again the third year instead of going out and filming.
Right. Yeah. So
The
you shot that
residuals.
Yeah. You shot that 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago, and I shot it once, and I've gotten paid twice for it. So,
That's hilarious.
And I'm hoping for a third.
I like the part two where you have lines, and it's so funny.
Yeah, I had. They said like I was the toy to play with that day. So, but a lot of the stuff just got cut. But they were just like eating up the day. The director wanted improv. I did so many lines. When I turned into the car, I said all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
I forget I can't even remember what the line is. Can we move this along? I think is the line. But there was also, oh man, they're like, they wanted me to go to yoga practice. They were throwing out weird stuff, funky stuff, like stuff that even I knew. I was like, oh, they're just getting me to say this. This is definitely not going in an Interstate Battery commercial.
Totally. Yeah. No, it was killer, and it looked great, but it was funny, man. And that's like right up my alley. That's the stuff that I want to be doing. I had a good time watching that.
It was, it was the best thing I've ever been a part of acting wise, just because it looked so polished. Like the cinematography was great, and the color and everything, and the way it was shot.
So how many guys would have been on the set that day?
It was just a commercial, so it was like right there on set, 15.
Yeah,
probably about 15.
That's
about 4 camera guys, a couple stunt people, props people, a couple ADs, a couple of grips and lighting, and your director and the clients. Right. Everyone else was in trailers. I actually even think the clients had, because we were shooting in a conservation area.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of hilarious, but yeah, the clients I think were in trailers with like video village and monitors and watching the whole time and stuff like that.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. That's totally out of the realm what we do here in Thunder Bay. Absolutely. Like it's like me and my business partner Brian, and then whoever's in front of the camera. It's so lean. But that's the only way I know how to work. Even if I had a crew, I don't even know the jargon. I wouldn't even know how to delegate jobs. You know what I mean? So, sorry, just so you guys know, if my eyes ever seem distracted, this is what I'm looking at right now.
Oh fuck! It's still super bright there.
Yeah.
What time is it there?
It's 9:08.
Man, it's the same time here.
There. Yeah, but we're on the border of the time zone, right?
Man, so that's pretty wild. The one thing I remember about T-Bay, obviously Thunder Bay, is the thunderstorms. Like I was like, once I experienced, it's not like it was often, but every time there was one, it was like, I was like, whoa, this is why they call it, man. Like this is intense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we've had a couple this summer, not as much as we normally do, but we've had a couple.
And like purple and green sky and shit at some time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's wild. Yeah, that's cool.
So dude, this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about a second ago. You know, like we took two very different paths, you know, like, but we had the same sensibilities. Like I remember, and it's weird that we created a friendship almost out of nothing, because you were there for the first little bit. We went to started film school together. I think you were pretty much the only person who introduced yourself to me. You came up and you were like, hey, and I was like, oh, it's a good guy or whatever. Everyone else in that class, like I kind of hated not everybody, but like I wasn't a huge fan of that, like the whole system. And I think you can obviously talk on that, but isn't that kind of one of your first instincts for why you got out? Or?
Well, I walked in and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to speak too harshly on anybody, but I'm like, here's a bunch of film snobs. And I'm like, oh, here's this dude who's like 6'5", looks like he might have thrown a football around. I could probably relate to this guy. So I just gravitated towards you, and you're like really the only guy that I made a connection with that class. And besides that, man, that was the first time in my life I was like, holy, I'm a complete outsider. I didn't get along with anybody. And that was a interesting wake-up call for me, for sure.
It's crazy because I felt the exact same way. And we both took different paths. As I kind of grinded it out, and you immediately knew that it wasn't for you, knew what you wanted to do, and dove right in that regard. And that kind of made me jealous a little bit. And I was just like, because you were just like, fuck it. And you just went and made movies, which is what I wanted to do. But I was like, it took me a while to figure out that film school and that. And like, I knew they were snobs and stuff, and I knew it was shitty, but it was just like, I don't know. I was just kept slugging it out, you know?
For sure. And looking back, I wish I did complete it. I wish I did stick it out. But I was right out of high school. I think I was 18. And the thing about going to film school in my local town was that all my buddies were in welding or business or this and that. So it was like, to me, it was high school, but I would skip class and no one's getting me in trouble because I'm paying for it. So it felt, it was very amateur. You know what I mean? Like, I did not take it serious. So then I remember like halfway through first semester, I think it was Lee Chambers brought me in, and he's like, in editing class, you have a 0%. And I'm like, oh, 0. I haven't had a 0 since foods class in high school. So then, so I kind of knew that I was on a downward spiral, and being immature, you know, I'm sure those guys are great. I know everyone speaks super highly of Delorme, but being young and like, I'm looking at these teachers and I'm like, well, what did you guys do? Why am I learning from you guys? What have you done that I've seen? And it's like, oh, I've done this CBC documentary. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't really interest me.
Because like you said, your aspirations at that time were to like make a solid feature film or something. Because we had talked about Scorsese and comparing Casino and Goodfellas. You were one of the first people I think that was like, you know what, I think Casino's better. And I was like, oh shit, I think I might agree. I don't know. Like, you know?
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had similar sensibilities in that regard. But like, you know, after slugging it out, I realized afterward, you kind of realized ahead. I kind of realized afterward, the same things, you know. Mm-hmm. I realized I didn't learn much, you know, and the things that I did learn, that it's like these weird little offhand comments, like you can learn just as much from a bad movie as a good movie or something like that. Like I didn't, you know, like I didn't, and the thing that I do now, location managing, wasn't even something that was taught. Some of the most important jobs weren't even the things that are taught in film school.
Really?
Production managing, producing, location managing, like we kind of said, it's a lot of these, or like, and this is not just to that film school. This is a lot of film schools where it's this snob mentality where these people just want to sit in the director chair and be director for a day, and like, they don't have the long term. Like, we wanted to make these like feature films and have these careers.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, yeah. I got that vibe kind of right off the hop. And, you know, just being young and just being the first time that I felt like an outsider pissed me off right off the bat.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. I wanted to touch on that because I was a huge loner. I was the biggest loser in that class, and it was the only time I really ever felt like that either.
Well, it was harder for you because when you say biggest loser, you were literally like towering over everybody. So there was you couldn't even blend in if you wanted to.
Well, it's just weird because they were like, who here had a good time in high school? And no one put up their hand but like me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, I wasn't even that popular, but like, I didn't have a bad time.
Yeah. See, school always for me was, how can I get away with doing a video for a project? Oh yeah. So in English, creative writing, whatever it was, I would always ask the teacher, okay, can I do a video for this? And they knew that I loved to do that. So they would let me do that. And then everyone wanted to be in my group. We'd all have fun doing a video. We'd wheel in the freaking TV and the DVD player and pop it in, and everyone would have a good time. And we get a great mark. That's how I got through school. So then when I started paying, to go to school and my job was to do videos, and I was like, oh, screw this. I liked when, like, that's how I got out of doing work. don't make me do videos now. I think
interesting
maybe.
perspective. Yeah, no, it's interesting because that's kind of one of my regrets is I was like, why didn't I just make more shit when I was there in my downtime? Like those projects that they asked us to make and stuff. And it was all so stupid and like organized. I was like, this isn't what I thought you just went to film school, picked up all the shit and just like learned how to do it with your friends.
Right.
I didn't know it was all this theory and like, let me tell you about the days or like whatever it might be. You know, I don't know. Like,
I kind of remember the buildup of going to that program was like, oh, you get burnt out. They're like 16-hour days. You better brace yourself. You're going to be sleeping on the editing floor. And I'm like, that sounds terrible.
Well, the thing is that productions are that long. Like when you work on them, they are 14, 16, 18-hour days. I've had, I think, a 24 or 27-hour day. So like, but that's not just sitting in a chair listening to someone lecture for 4 hours in 3 different classes and then, or whatever, you know what I mean?
For sure. And I don't think that like I feel like they would try and stretch out the timeline just to get those hours in. So it's like, this is what you're going to be dealing with. Like, yeah, we're not doing much though.
It's true. So you dove into Westfort Films essentially right then and there. Westfort Films was already created, correct? Or no? Was it a high school thing?
Westfort Films would have been, no, Westfort Films would have been right after that.
Right after that.
I had a bunch of names. I had Wise Guys Productions, which was stolen from Scorsese. Right. Productions.
I went through so many stupid ones.
So many stupid ones. Yeah, there was a ton of names growing up. But Westfort Films, when I decided, I'm like, hey, let's get a name, let's get a logo. And Westfort Films actually registered as a proper business.
That's sweet. So where did the name and logo come from?
Well, the name Westfort, the name is from the neighborhood that I now live in and our buildings in. Like this is right out the window I showed you earlier. That's the main strip of Westfort. Look at that sign right there. So Westfort is like, it's a little neighborhood in Thunder Bay. There, and the people of Westfort are the most like loyal people ever. People from Westfort rep Westfort. They love Westfort.
That's sick. Sounds like a mini Boston with the pride. I mean, you're living there, you got the business there, you got the tat, you got it on the wall. It's your slogan. It's like
for sure, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And you've never left T-Bay, right? You've always focused on the business like there essentially, right? Like obviously you've left for other endeavors and things like that, but essentially your home base is like
right after high school, before college, I went to Ottawa and I was a production assistant at the animation studio that Brian worked at, my business partner, who's also my uncle, who's closer in age to my brother. He worked at for 10 years. My other uncle owns the animation studio. That's how I got the job. So I was there for about 2 months in the summer after high school, and I thought I was going to stay there. But after 2 months, football was calling my name, high school football. So I came back for a couple semesters and we won the championship. And then I dropped out of high school and then I started, and then I dropped out and started filming weddings and events and anything like that.
That's how you start, man. That's how you start. Cause you got to make that money at that age kind of thing. And those are kind of the things that you can wheel and deal at that time.
For sure. I remember the first wedding I got paid for, I had a DVX 100 from a church that I went to. They had the DVX, so I borrowed it. My dad, I heard about this couple getting married in Port Arthur, opposite side of town, very un-Westfort. My dad drove me to their house. I sat down in their living room and said, here's why I think you should let me film your wedding. And I had a DVD and I showed them like home movies that I made with me and my brothers and the neighborhood kids. Like goofy movies. And they're like, yeah, okay. And gave me $800. I think it was 15. Like $800 at 15. And I hired my buddy to run a second camera. And I was like, and then at that point I was like, I'm going to use the camera for the rest of my life.
I made it.
Cool. Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is $800. You know how many 5-cent candies I can get for this? So like at that point, school was just a distraction. I just got to get through school.
Yeah, man. I was the same way. I ask every teacher for every video project, and basically 99% of the time they'd be great. But then sometimes they just bomb hard because we took too many risks. I would say,
Yeah,
even in high school, took too many risks on some of those Maya Angelou book reports videos. Why the caged bird sings doesn't go down on video. Interpretation as well.
That's hilarious.
So, you know what's funny is, and sometimes when I see or hear of this guy Coleman Hell, the video Burns in Hell. Are you still friends with this guy or tight with this guy at all? Or
Yeah, I still talk to both of them.
so I don't really know the situation too much, other than you filmed. Coleman Hell is is he a pop star? Of sorts?
He's into pop music now. When I started shooting him, I would say he was actually, no, that's not true. When we started making videos, he was getting into pop music. Started off as a rapper though. He was in a rap duo. That was Burns in Hell.
Right. And you filmed a video for them that like went viral or something, didn't it?
Yeah. So that was Burns' song, Jordan Burnell. That was his song, and Coleman was, I guess, featured on it. But that blew up. It was kind of bizarre, man. I posted a rough cut. It wasn't even the final version, and posted a rough cut, and it was like 3,000 views, 5,000 views. I'm like, oh no, because up to that point, I was getting like 500 views. Was like, we did it, boys. 1,500 views.
This was so long ago. This was so long ago. This was in like what, 2008? 2010?
Oh, yeah, 2010. Yeah, 10 years ago. So the next morning we woke up and it was like 30,000 views. I was like, okay, we got to change the name from Rough Cut. We can't get rid of these views, guys. So it was like everyone in Thunder Bay saw it, essentially. So that was pretty cool. So out of that, they got a bunch of opportunities. Now, Jordan made that song because he was pursuing music in Toronto. So it was kind of his farewell to Thunder Bay, which is sort of fitting in a way. And I think it was why it was so successful. It was really from the heart. I don't know, just a lot of weird timing that happened there.
Yeah. Hey, that's what it's all about. That's awesome.
Yeah, that blew up, and then they moved there, and then we had a little bit of back and forth. I went there. I think they signed a deal, or so. I'm not really sure how that went, but.
And to see because I see the photos and stuff of him, or like, it's like crazy. It's like over the top. It's like him in leopard print clothes and gold chains, and like it's a hilarious persona.
For sure, right? Yeah. And he was always that type of dude in Thunder Bay. Like, he would push the limits. It didn't fit in Thunder Bay. He's a Thunder Bay boy, but like, people here don't really get that. And he was just like, nah, man, this is what I want to wear. And it's in Toronto, it flies.
Right.
But yeah, he did his own thing, and I think he's doing well because of that.
That's funny. Yeah,
like
that's great.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So the house, the logo, it's kind of that's obvious. That's just some random house.
That's like what you would get on a old school, typical Westfort Street.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Doesn't so much look like that. That was like an old timey, like wartime bungalow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like the house maybe someone grew up in that maybe no one lives in anymore, or maybe they do. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's a small version of this cat lady who lived. She was a legend in Westfort. She was a cat lady. She had like 9 cats. Her name was Miss Wiggy. People were scared to death of her. But she's not around anymore. But she was legendary. So that's kind of roughly based off of. But we're completely different now, and we're cleaned up. So once Brian moved here from Ottawa, we rebranded. We went from Westfort Films to Westfort Productions. Also,
so
Grant. Being a star.
If you're lucky to get your hands on some of that, were you?
Yeah, right off the hop. Yeah, we got some grant money for sure. Yeah, enough to. But I think like to get a camera and get a new laptop for editing.
That's huge.
Yeah, we were in a good spot for sure right off the get go. I'm like the computer I'm talking to you on right now is the MacBook 2019. We order one like I guess every 4 years is when it kind of starts to kick the can. We max it out. We do every single add-on. You want me to take you for a tour? Can I pick this up?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so here's the main room. Here's where we have like clients in and just kind of shoot the breeze, have brainstorming sessions, talk about whatever we want to talk about. This is our coffee bar. Our good buddy made this actually, Brad Allen. Fantastic carpenter, woodworker. Show you the entrance. Our friend Heather Cranston designed this for us. The world needs more Westfort. It's very true. All these names have something with a significant meaning. Here's my dad's birthday up here. See that? I saw your Pause license plate in the back.
Yeah, man.
And we got a Popowich Drive in the front.
There you go.
Got this guy from my camp.
All the old cameras.
Oh yeah, actually, I'll give you through all these paintings. This glass was it was in the basement of the building that we bought. So I just like projected stencils and cut up the stencils and sprayed these.
Oh man, love that.
Here's the HVX 200, which I'm pretty sure we were using at college.
For sure.
So when we used that, I had one myself that I had bought like when I was like 17. So I was like, this is the gear that you guys are teaching us with? I have this at home. Which is just another reason why I was probably pretty arrogant. Okay, here's the edit suite here. So here's the screen that we show everything on. It's a little messy because we shot a video in here today. Yeah,
man. Good to be busy.
We don't typically use this as like a studio to shoot, but it just kind of worked out today.
Gotcha.
And then here's our monitor. Right there, that's...
Oh, is it a one piece?
It's a one piece. It's
that's nice.
49 inches.
That's a great call.
Yeah, it was, we did that, I think in January or February. And I'm telling Brian, I'm like, Brian, we need this, man. I gotta get so much more work done.
It's true. It's true, right?
It is true. Cause like if I have revisions or something, I have like Final Cut's half of it. And then my revisions and my music and any of my like footage banks or anything else is on the side. So it's because before that I had like a 28 or a 32 inch MacBook. So I'm clicking and dragging back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
And it was
those little upgrades that you got to burn to learn. You got to be doing the job for a bit and be like, oh man, like what is this one thing that's going to make my life a little better here or something? Yeah. And boom, business upgrade, or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Like this little thing, I was like, podcast. I got a webcam on the way because I got to upgrade on that.
Right.
Just did some searching. I was like, this turned out to be one of the better ones to check out or whatever. Mm-hmm. Basically because I realized making films is going to be very expensive now in these times, even if I'm making like crappy little productions or whatever of my own, spending my own money. So I just I'm giving the podcast thing a go.
Yeah, well, it's cool. And it's fun to be doing something. As soon as you reached out, I'm like, oh, this is the guy that I'm so glad emailed me about catching up. Because anyone else would be like, But I'm like, oh, the other guy that didn't like film school? Yes, please. Yeah, man.
Dude, I checked out the webs. Oh, go ahead.
What's that chair in the back? Was that from an actual...
fuck. Worst investment ever. My cat gets the director's chair.
Yeah.
My cat gets more use out of it than I do. Sleeps in it all day. No, I haven't even gotten that hardcore. I'm not putting any more money in that chair. I'm throwing it in the garbage. That's the next thing I do. No, because the truth is it's actually not for me, but if I do have productions, it would be like a hair makeup chair or a cast chair or something, just to provide to someone. It's not like I sit around at home or something like that. Like even when I shot films or whatever, I don't sit around in a director's chair being like, man, do this, do that.
It's too funny.
And the pause license plate is high school license plate. It's one of my favorite Christmas gifts. My parents kept it, gave it to me years later, like 8 years after high school. They're like, here's a pause license plate, but it's like a little, they turned it into something. It's like a bookcase or whatever too.
Oh, that's cool. So what did they do in those 8 years then? That's the real question. Hey. The Robin Banks and throwing that on top. There's one short film that I want to make. I think if I make the one short film, get that out of my system, I'll be good for a while.
Yeah, well, because you kind of went the commercial route or whatever, or those kind of videos, right? Like that's...
Which I love, yeah.
But the thing is, you're good at those, and you can see that you're bringing some sort of mentality to it that the people who normally do those commercials, like they're missing the mark, or they're too cheesy, or you're bringing something better to it.
Well, that's cool. I appreciate that. And that's why when I saw the battery one, I was like, oh, this is what I'm trying to do. This kind of thing here.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they want to tell a story with their video, right? I got a story to tell. Here's what I want to do. For me, like it started to transition. It's like I have a punchline or I have a joke. So if I could tell it in 30 seconds or 60 seconds and then maybe sell some tires or insurance doing that, and someone's going to pay me to do that, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys must have a stranglehold on the community there. Like, I imagine there's no one else who's really...
Well, there's a few guys that, like, there's guys with cameras. I'm not trying to shoot anyone down. There's guys with cameras. They'll find them cut.
It's true. It's true.
There's other.
I edit this on iMovie. That's how low key my podcast is. I'm like, I don't need to get too complex about this.
Well, no, for sure. Like, and there's room for everybody. And some guys can get away with. It doesn't matter. They have an eye, or they're good at picking music, whatever it is. Yeah, there's guys in town but no one focuses on the commercial like we do. So there's guys that dabble in photography and weddings, and they do everything. I would never touch a still camera in my life. I take terrible photos. Terrible. People like sometimes on set, they're like, hey, can you take a photo of us? I'm like, not really. I need to mask my stuff with like narration and music. That's when I trick you.
Yeah. I mean, I always used to love adding in the tunes back in the day when you could afford them, because it wasn't real.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have a couple good sites now, and I don't know if anyone's paying what we pay locally. But there's a couple sites that have like bangers for like maybe $400 or $500 a track if you're using it just for internet, which is...
Oh, wow. I do the long-term thing. So I pay the annual to Artlist. Have you heard of Artlist?
We have a subscription to them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely come in handy, like filled a bunch of gaps for sure. It's worth it, I would say. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. We actually, since the COVID thing, we started using our grid for their stock photos, because we've done videos, and this is a secret of the pros. We've done a lot of videos that like we don't even shoot anything because we can't shoot anything, especially from March to April.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of videos where it's strictly just stock footage. Yeah. And people are fine with that because they understand the circumstances, and you don't want a bunch of people in masks. So here's footage that has existed that's pretty quality. And it's not much more than what the music license is, except same thing. It's unlimited downloads. Where Shutterstock, it's like, I don't even know what it is, like $80 a clip or something like that.
Yeah, I use Pond 5 sometimes.
We've used that in the past too. Yeah.
They've got some good ones on there, but yeah, you got to pick and choose, because sometimes the prices, I'm just like, for this little clip, it's, or whatever. It's
slow motion seagull for $200.
Slow motion seagull. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Jeez,
that's perfect. Man. That's perfect.
The thing about our grid though, is if you have a dude and I want a sad guy, and there's a guy, oh, jeez. Well, they have like 20 supporting clips, so you could cut a sequel. Son of a,
Oh, that's
like it's a bunch of different angles and lenses. So
oh my
yeah,
God. They shoot the shit out of it. Oh,
they
that's
shoot
cool.
their shit. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I checked out, scrolled through the Instagram there, and first Insta post was in 2014, I saw. And that's, same year I made my first movie. So essentially, and I was just thinking, how did you get started? When did you decide on a long-term goal of this vision of where you're at now? Was it a linear narrative and went like exactly how you thought, like, oh, I'm going to do this and we're going to do it in Thunder Bay, we're going to make commercials, or like what kind of twists came in and forced you to go in different directions, or you kind of learned and you were like, oh, I guess this is what I'm good at, or whatever?
Right. So when Brian came back, I think he said, let's take a go at this. I want to raise my family here. Let's see if we could make this full time. Because at that time, there was really not that much opportunity. We knew we had to kind of carve a bit of a path. In my head, I was like, no weddings. I don't want to do weddings. And I did weddings for 2 years. But the goal was to focus on commercial work where we could still have kind of creative freedom. We could do a lot of writing. We can come up with, develop concepts, have some fun. We really believed in building these local businesses and getting them more business, and some of them branching out and going national. We wanted to be a part of that because we knew a lot of these businesses had that potential. So the goal was like, we knew we had an opportunity here to work with some really cool people who own some cool companies. And it was a huge learning curve, but every commercial or video that we did, we wanted to get better and better and better. So subscribing to masterclass or spending time on YouTube or upgrading our camera equipment, we're always doing something. It was like a 6-year film program that we did ourselves, in a sense. We knew we were hacking at it. Every meeting we were at, we would leave and they're like, oh yeah, okay, you guys got the contract. We're like, really? Okay. Trust us? Yeah, the long-term goal was just like, okay, we want to raise our families in Thunder Bay. We want to make a decent living. We want to have the freedom to work for ourselves. I think we understood that none of us wants to be the Scorsese right now. It was about doing quality commercial work for local businesses, making a living. That was kind of the goal. And it took 5 years to get there.
Yeah.
We worked out of my leaky basement, and then we upgraded to my kitchen 2 years later.
That's great.
We would have meetings in my kitchen. People would walk in and like the outside, like we renovated my house. So inside my house looks nice, but they would walk up to the front steps and it's like decrepit. It's like a tall version of my old Westfort Films logo. So people are walking, what the hell is going on here? And they come in the kitchen, you met Brian? Yeah, sit down. So that went on for a while, but yeah, I don't know. I feel we're in a pretty fun spot now. We have a lot of repeat clients. We've also paid our dues. We grinded it out, man, for like 2 years. It was lean and ugly, and we're like, I don't know if we can do this. I literally had to go work at Bombardier for a year to get a mortgage for my house when I was freelancing. A year out of my life, I went to go work in a factory, I had fun, man. I like those guys.
So dude, it's this one nice thing that ties in here is like this podcast is so low key. I'm just getting going. We're like, I think you're episode 5, but it's called the Backyard Variety Tour. So it's just based on like local, homegrown, like, yes, I'm going to have some people on here, hopefully, who are in the film industry. It's just my wheelhouse, and it's, we know a lot of interesting people, right? And I want to tell these stories because people are doing interesting things. Look at, sorry, I got to interrupt you. I just noticed how shitty and low key this podcast is. My socks are in the background.
Oh yeah. You know what? I got a guy that'll crap that out for you. Should I throw some socks over here to even it out? Oh, fuck for socks.
They've been there the whole time. Oh yeah, this interview is dynamite. It's like this guy's socks.
Just title it like the sock episode, and people are like, "Oh yeah, you guys see the sock?"
That's genius. That's genius.
They're back there the whole time.
They're like, "Well, what's the deal? What's with the socks?"
Yeah.
We gotta.
They get to it at the end. Just keep on watching. You gotta hang in there. It gets real good.
Oh man, that's classic.
Hey, people, in the comments, I think they move at some point. One of them squeaks. I swear to God.
It's true. Oh man, that's classic. You mentioned making a film. You think you're gonna make a film?
Yes. You know what? We were gonna make it last year. It's just a short film, super low key, one actor, very little lines. I love it. I love the story. Can't give too much away. Yeah. But we just couldn't take a couple weeks off to do it. This year, like from our last tax season up until February, we had a record year. We're like, okay, let's do it. Take a month off and we'll do it. And then COVID hit. We're like, son of a. So now what's
the budget?
The budget is how much time I could take off work. It's just me with a camera and
an actor, one actor.
That's it. Cool. And we got to there's some props we bought. We have to sink a boat. Besides that, it's just how much time.
Sink a boat.
Which I would love to do a short film. I would love to do a short film, and the credits is just like actor, director, and then done.
Oh, dude, that was my. I'll send you the last short film I made because I spent like years and years of trying to make these, not art house or whatever, but like trying to put honest effort into making short films and like. Okay. But every time you're there, it just like it always falls apart. Everything's falling apart. If you don't have a real budget, like professional people working for you on a film, everything's falling apart 24/7. Right. And it's just like not sustainable. The short film, so Killer Door. So all of a sudden I'm just like, I was so pissed off. I'm just like, I'm going to make this piece of shit movie called Killer Door. Okay. Cause like no one likes anything else that I'm doing. So one major mistake. I mean, at the time I was like, oh, this is great. I made this movie called Indigos. And it's basically like if Marty Scorsese made Silence as his first film. It was just like a big mistake. Like Silence was a big mistake even a couple of years ago, like, I don't know. I was like, it's probably a good thing he took 40 years to make this or whatever, but like I made this like very quiet film and I cut so much of it that like the dialogue that was left in it didn't make sense and like whatever. And I was just like, oh, that's like someone making Silence for their first film and expecting people to be like, you know what you're doing? Right. Like you want us to give you money? Because I just took a huge risk because that's kind of what I'm about. So, but then with Killer Door, I was like, fuck this, fuck the film industry, fuck everyone. Why can't, like, I'm trying so hard and nothing's working. So I'm not going to try and I'm going to see if that works. And I just went back to like my comedic roots in a sense, because that's what all my videos and everything used to be before I tried to start making gritty crime flicks when you're 25. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, unless you're a Prodigy Scorsese making Mean Streets. So yeah, I made Killer Door and it was literally 5 people. It was 5 people altogether between cast, crew, or whatever. It was like no one. We filmed it in this room behind me. Pretty much way. The whole thing.
That trailer, like man, when that door peeks out the side.
Yeah, that's the part. That's the part everybody likes. And that's the part that they're supposed to like, because that was a conscious choice by me where I'm like, I'm making this grounded movie, but it's going to have this stupid little idea thing or whatever. Right. So basically the idea is meta. I was sitting on my couch one night, all pissed off, like watching hockey or something. And a trailer came on for Escape Room, the movie. And I was just pissed. I was like, people don't like the shit that I want to do, but they want to go see an escape room movie, which you can just go to an escape room. Like, just go to an escape room and get the feeling from an escape room. Don't go sit in one spot and watch people in an escape room. You're idiots.
Right. Yeah.
And I was just like, you could make a movie about a killer door. And I point to this door behind me, and I was like, it was ding. And I was like,
oh man.
I was like, I'll make a movie about a killer door. It's like I spent 20K on a movie. I spent 15 or 10K on my movies that did nothing. And I was like, this is going to be the easiest movie to make ever. It's in my house. Minimal. Yeah. I'm like, I'll write it with minimal actors. Like, the costs are going to be so low, and it was still fucking expensive to make.
Right.
Between editing and sound mixing and all the shit you need to make it good, man.
Yeah.
Beyond just the filming it, you know?
Right.
And for being the thing that I like, not care, I still cared, but I was just like threw caution to the wind, and I just went back to I was just like, let's just make this, and spent a lot of time on the script, for as stupid as it is. And it turned out to be the best thing I've made so far, in my opinion, that I would send, and still had a ton of problems, was still shitty, and still had a ton of problems. Like, you know, but
yeah,
I'll send it to you. It's still unlisted. I've left it unlisted because it's on the festival circuit. Not like it's gotten into
a few. I'd love to see it, man.
It's gotten into a few here or there, but it's got rejected for way more. But it's getting so close to the end now of the circuit that I'm just like, I'm just going to release it now, you know?
Yeah, when I saw that trailer, I did a deep dive. I couldn't find it anywhere. It bugged me.
Yeah, no, I'll send it to you. You'll get the top secret unlisted link, and then I think pretty soon it'll go it'll go public. Well, the hilarious thing is so like, I'm making fun of movies, I'm making fun of the state of the film industry in it, like, all very subtly. But I applied to a festival with the script at one point, I think, and I saw that they were showing a movie with a very similar title called Escape Maze. So someone made essentially a copy of Escape Room. They made their own version of Escape Room, but they called it Escape Maze, which was the title. I think it was one of the titles it was the title of the movie within the movie that my character's watching on TV.
No way.
Yeah. Because I was like, what's a stupid, shitty title? It's not Escape Room, but still says the same thing. Yeah. And it was Escape Maze. It was Escape Maze. So when I saw that, I'm like, I'm on the right track. Nobody even knows how fucking smart I am. Because the guy does the narration, and it was about a corn maze. The trailer voice is like, what happens when you're trapped in, or whatever, and it's things are about to get corny, or whatever.
Yeah.
Escape Maze. I forget what I forget what I changed it to. I can't remember. It's the movie that I'm watching within Killer Door.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see that, man.
It's so stupid.
Yeah,
but I spent a lot of time on the 10-page script. A lot of time on it.
That's not a terrible thing.
Well, that's the thing I love, man, is perfecting the script. That's one thing I saw from your guys' website that I like that you're still doing is, says you're filming like high-end commercial videos, but you're still involved in like storytelling and script writing. And that comes through, I think, in the stuff that I watched on your site.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you. Yeah. Brian's a great writer. He really is.
Does Brian do most of it?
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy collaboration. I'm an ideas guy. My English, as you can tell at this point, is pretty terrible. My vocabulary is extremely weak. A lot of concussions, folks. A lot of concussions. So Brian takes my ideas and he's like, "Okay, let's make sure people can understand what the hell you're trying to say." So it's a great partnership because he's a freaking wordsmith, and we have blogs on our site now, which is new to us, and he does all that. Yeah, he's having fun with it, so it's great. He's kind of when it comes to the captions or the voice of Westfort, it's absolutely Brian.
Gotcha.
When it comes to the face, it's this because usually he's the one taking the pictures. BTS. I don't know, man. It's different levels everywhere.
I gotta cover up these socks. I went the wrong way.
Oh, it's too late now. The people. It's trending on Twitter.
The people just tuning in now will never know.
Yeah. Nothing to see.
What people? You have 3 views. That's what it would be.
My mom's gonna be like, "What's with those socks in the back? You see that shit?"
No, I've even kept this low key for my mom because that's the last thing I need is my mom being like, "Great job, Ian." When you have like 3 views. Oh, she already followed my like one of my business accounts or whatever. Yeah. And I look through things sometimes and every comment's just like, "Way to go." I'm just like, "Oh, there's nothing killing my business." Like my mom being like, "You're the best."
Yeah, thank you for showing that license plate. Thank you for that's deadly. You know what though, man?
Movies, go ahead.
If your parents support your creative endeavors, whew, what an advantage you have on everyone else.
Big time. They've they've never blinked an eye at the batshit film stuff deadly. That I've wanted to do.
Deadly.
But it took a lot of work, man. It took a lot of work. Like you said, there's those couple of years of downtime or where you're slugging it out, right? Same thing, right? You got to find your way. You got to find out what you're good at, you know, like, and then once I kind of got a hold of that shit, I can excel and figure out. And it's more about relationships. You learn all that shit. You learn all of it. It's not always what you know and how much you know. And
yeah, for sure.
It's who you can connect and what you can make happen and all that shit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you watching? Have you tell me about some movies, man, that you've been, or TV or anything?
You know what, man? Not many movies, not as many movies as I would like to.
What have you been doing with your time?
The Irishman, I looked forward to for like 4 years, and it came out. I thought it was fantastic. I don't know why people chirped it.
I have some. Well, here's the thing. I watched it twice, back to back. Okay, because I'm hardcore. Yeah, I woke up. I have a crazy routine or like lifestyle pattern because again, I'm single. So a couple of years ago, I just decided I'm going insane. Essentially, I'm waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning, and just taking advantage of the day. So I remember waking up at like 3 a.m. for some reason that day, turning on The Irishman, watching it through. And then being like, okay, what the fuck did I just see? And watching it through again. And the second time I was like, okay, now I definitely understand what I saw and can analyze it. And a couple things. So I thought it was well done. I thought there was so much stuff that was well done in it. I didn't really have too many issues with it. One, and it's not even really that much of an issue, but one thing that I thought was laughable was like right near the beginning. And it's so tough because it's right near the beginning. If it happened, I don't know. Maybe that's the best place for it to happen. But I was just like, oh, fuck, I'm trying to get into this mob movie and you're screwing me, Scorsese. What's going on? So Joe Pesci and De Niro, it's like 10 or 15 minutes in. And he's like, hey, look, we got a flat tire. Oh, look where we got a flat tire. Hey, right over there where we first met. Remember when we first met? And then they're like, it's a flashback. And he's like, it has no connection whatsoever. De Niro's just working on a car. And Pesci just walks up to him and he's like, hey, kid, want to work in the mob? Hey, okay, I'll see you later. We're best friends now. And then they're like, yeah, remember that? Okay. And I was like, fuck, okay, hated that.
I can't believe you just ruined that. You just ruined that movie for me in 15 seconds. I'm subscribing to Netflix right now. Frick.
That was the one thing that I was just like, you just killed me. You deflated me before you even got me going. I was so excited for this. And it just
when I watched that scene, I was looking at my wife and I'm like, what are the odds? That's amazing. Can't believe it's historically accurate.
Yeah. Look where we broke down.
Yeah.
Remember when you were working on the truck and I popped in for a second and said hello and changed your life?
Yeah, which is hilarious. I don't even remember what I had for dinner last night. Remind them both having the exact same memory.
I don't know. That was pretty. You know, it's been a little while because I watched it as soon as it came out, like, or the next day or something.
What about Sebastian Maniscalco's cameo? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I thought, I'm pretty sure that I was actually happy and satisfied with that. I think he did a good job from what I remember.
I thought it was fantastic. And
I thought
De Niro's in his face, like, because he's bugging Pesci, and De Niro's going, don't do that. And then he waits for De Niro to say the line. He goes, fuck out of here. And I was like, that's so good, man.
Oh,
And
the
it's so
little
cool.
pause.
Yeah, and just the way like, he gets his hand up. But I thought it was so cool that they gave a dude like that a chance for a role like that. And
It's
he
not that
nailed
out of the mark. I mean, Scorsese loves doing that. Casino. We were talking about Casino.
yeah,
Kevin Pollak and Don Rickles are two comedians
That's
who did
yeah.
serious roles. He's not. That's not that.
That's
I
true.
love that choice. I love that choice, and I thought he did a good job. And I love how they shoot him in that movie. I love how De Niro shoots him.
Yeah,
I love how
there's a story
I love
about
the
that.
shooting. Actually, the shooting is like it's kind of like the movie
like
Hostiles.
With the guns, you mean?
Yeah, like he doesn't kill people very often. It's, every 15, 20 minutes, half hour or something like that, right? So it's just every once in a while, it's like story, bang, story. It's kind of like Hostiles where the gunshots are impactful. You feel them.
Yeah.
You feel the deaths. Like when he comes around the corner and Beansy from Soprano is like, I didn't know which way you were coming. He's like, boom, 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 boom. That was a pretty great moment. And he's just dead and done. And you're like, holy shit, that was quick. And
and that ending the fact that you knew exactly what was going on and they dragged that out, and the whole time you're just feeling as anxious as he is. Oh man.
Yeah, and it's so deflating in a way because you're just like, you wanted to see it so bad, like not the movie, but the way Hoffa died. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to see that in their heads, and you see it, and it just, this interpretation anyways, because apparently the whole movie is not true whatsoever. Right. He just dies in a house like Pesci did in Goodfellas back, like just in a shitty way. Like he was just at the door and De Niro's like, gotta kill you. Bang, 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 bang. And he just dies against the door, against the wall in some shitty old Italian house. You know what I mean? Like it's so sad and just like so
almost
mobster and
just kind of pathetic. Oh, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it's so glorified. It's just so mobster death. Like they always die in these shitty little houses or getting out of their car.
Yeah, it's not getting booted off a cliff. The thing that bugged me, the one scene that I couldn't stand is when his daughter is kind of yelled at or assaulted by the dude who owns the corner store, and he goes back to punish the dude and throws him out the window. His kicks
are brutal.
His kicks are so bad. And then when the guy's hands on the curb and he's like, yeah, and like fakes, like doesn't stomp it. He like puts his foot and then puts the pressure on. Like, come on, like give him a boot in the head.
He gave him he gave him the old tap and twist.
Yeah. You're gonna have the worst
Steve Martin
Indian
kills
burn.
At the end of Bowfinger, I think Steve Martin or Eddie Murphy kills a guy with his foot and like gives a little twist. Steps on him and gives a little twist.
Yeah. So it's like, guys, it didn't have to be a far shot. Like,
it's true.
Cuts.
Why didn't you do the close up when he's stomping him like in the guy in the pen in the bar? Casino or whatever.
Yeah.
Those were close ups.
Looking at.
Sure. He's like, No, it's honestly, I didn't remember it, but I remember it being so bad when you brought it up. The image, I was like, oh, these kicks are so shit.
Yeah. He's just kicking. He's like halting his foot on the ground before the body.
And the whole idea of it was a little over the top. Like maybe he took it too far. Like, what did the guy do again? He just like,
did he yell at her or he grabbed his daughter or something? Yeah.
Like not in a bad way though, or something. I think it was just like, hey, don't touch that fruit or something.
Yeah.
Shook her or something, maybe.
Yeah. I have a daughter and I wouldn't have quite reacted like that.
Oh, the guy out the window and boot his face in.
Oh, I was like, hey man, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah. I
want to fake stomp your stomach.
I remember a couple of, it's, and to tell you the truth, I haven't watched it since, man. So, but
I can't believe you have me against it now. This is unbelievable. What a turn of events. I gotta go watch it tonight.
But the thing is I could still go back and watch it and still enjoy the hell out of certain performances. There's certain scenes and there's certain things like Pacino. There's certain things that are great. But also I went back and I was like, well, what's the other Hoffa movie? And I pulled up Hoffa with Jack Nicholson and DeVito, which is hilarious. Just watch the trailer for the ending of that movie, the YouTube clip or whatever. And DeVito is hilarious. Like, first of all, it's not a bad movie. It's not as entertaining or as exciting as The Irishman. But the ending is pretty wicked, and how quickly they do it. But the thing that's unbelievable there is that Danny DeVito is supposed to be some bodyguard, and he's like 3'3", and it's the old thing. It's kind of like that. So whatever. Have you seen Hoffa?
I've never seen it.
I got it. Okay. So, well, you know, he dies, but I'm going to tell you the ending. So they're at a diner. It's better. It's actually better. I like it a little bit better in a way. They're at a diner parking lot. Nicholson's in the back of the car, and DeVito's talking to Frank Whaley, who's like in a blue jean. He's like Denim Dan, blue jean jacket, blue jeans. And Whaley convinces DeVito that he's going to bring some coffee over to Hoffa. And Hoffa's like, sees him coming. He's like, what the fuck's this guy doing? He looks at DeVito, and DeVito's like, it's okay. I talked to him. And Whaley gets to the car, and he's like, Mr. Hoffa? He's like, yeah, what do you want? And then he's like, goes for his gun, puts the coffee on the thing, slow motion, going for the gun, shows DeVito going, and he's reaching for his gun. It's that old thing, and he can't find it. And and so the guy, he shoots Nicholson, tap, tap. Nicholson just dies in the car. And a transport's pulling out of the parking lot at the same time as DeVito's running towards Frank Whaley in slow motion. Little DeVito.
Yeah.
Whatever he's going to do, I don't know. And Frank Whaley just turns and shoots him a couple times. And he just dies in the parking lot. And the transport that was driving by opens up the back. A couple guys run out, like a whole little team. It happens in like 30 seconds. They hop in Hoffa's car, turn it on, drive it into the back of the transport. Whaley, there's a getaway car. He hops in. They clean up the bodies. It's done in like 2 seconds in the back of the transport. Close the door. Transport drives away. It's like nothing happens. So I was like, you know what? That was kind of a cool, more of a mob ending, because they do come up with those sick little, quick little bang, bang, pop, pop, pop. It happens, and quiet. Out in, because they were in like Alabama or some diner in the South, secluded. Right. You know what I mean? Or wherever. That's Kansas.
Cool. Yeah. I like that.
It was cool. Just watch the clip and you'll kind of understand. Like the only other thing I remember from that movie is they were truck drivers, and they would smoke cigarettes, and they would let it burn down to their like knuckles to keep them awake. And he'd always be looking at his cigarette burns like, I remember this.
That's fantastic. I'm stealing that. You'll put that in a Fat Guys commercial.
It's a pretty good.
Have you watched The Umbrella Academy?
I haven't, but they film it here. I know they film it in Toronto.
What?
Yeah. Oh man, everything's filmed in Toronto.
I did not.
You can work on anything. You could work on anything really here. Like everything's
what the hell
made by Netflix.
What did we just talk about for 3 hours? I'm in the wrong city, you guys.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're making it work there. That's the crazy thing, right? I would have loved to be able to do that in my like hometown, but I couldn't. You know? Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. You got to check the show out. It's unique, and there's some great actors in it. And there's a lot of shows I'm watching now. I'm like, this acting's terrible. Who are these people? And for the most part, I don't really know who too many of these people are, except for the one dude from The Mute and this little kid who was on a Nickelodeon show. But what a cool show. And I'm pretty sure that it's based off a graphic novel. Does that ring a bell?
I'm sure everything. I don't know 100%, but everything is now. That's kind of why my one. I hate anything that's like superhero related or whatever.
Yeah, this one's different though, man. It's totally different. And the lighting, everything looks like a comic book, and not in the sense that they're trying too hard. Just like it looks really, really cool. And everything.
What's your go-to streaming service? Because there's like 4 or 5. Which one do you find you're using the most?
Well, that's on Netflix, but I'm also using Prime, and I'm using I got kids, so I'm using Disney a lot. The old classic Disney's. Come on, guys.
Yeah, Disney's great.
Disney's
great for those old classics. Prime, I find, is the best. It has the widest selection, and they're also tossing in new stuff, but also they have like old, creepy, weird.
Their classics are the best by far.
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't understand. They don't understand the classics. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's something you want to see. Where Amazon's like, oh yeah, this one's for the kids. They remember this one.
I've had Netflix or Prime has these like sub channels like MGM, Hollywood Suite,
Right. Yeah.
I always get those, and they got some deep cuts, man. Some really, really good stuff. I'm into that stuff. More like of the 70s, more of the stuff that we used to, the films that probably inspired us to go to film school, that kind of
Right.
thing. You know?
Yeah.
The films that
That's
inspire
cool.
me to take the risks and shit that I do now that no one else is. That's why I'm such a failure in to that extent. Like the thing is, I don't think of myself as a failure, but to an extent, because I think of myself, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm more successful than I ever thought I was going to be. You know what I mean? And done things that I never thought I was going to do. But I just, I have this feeling that I'm just going to be making my own indie films essentially for myself. Cause they're just not going to have this like wider global appeal or whatever, you know?
Well, in a sense, that's pretty freaking noble, man. If you're making films for yourself, no, seriously, if that's what you're doing because you love doing it, well,
yeah,
what's wrong with that? That's pretty amazing. When you start making films from other people and it starts to fall apart, you find yourself in a situation. Yeesh, this sucks. I hate this.
Well, that's the thing I never understood about film school is that's the thing they used to preach. They used to say you should be making your films for an audience. And I was always like, I should be making my films because I have what I think is I hold a high regard for my taste in films and even my own projects. So I should be making the film for me because I'm the toughest critic on myself kind of thing, right?
Well, if you're making a film for someone else, you're kind of just a tradesman with the camera. No different than being a plumber or a roofer. You just have a camera instead, right? That doesn't really make much sense. Do you watch Masterclass at all?
I've never checked one out. No, but I find all these little other ways to teach myself.
I did subscribe, and Scorsese has the perfect line that actually goes against everything that you just talked about. That what they preach at film school. He goes, if you want to go into film as a career, this is not for you. But if you have a story that's burning inside of you that you need to tell, then maybe I have something here that you need to listen to. That's the trailer for it. I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. And that's not where I'm at. That's not where I'm at as far as like, yeah, if I wanted to make film, yeah, absolutely, that would ring true to me.
But well, that's the truth, man, because I do, even though these films that I write are like whatever, these little pieces of shit or whatever, or these risky things, like every time I made one of those films was because I couldn't live without making it. I needed to expel something from me. I needed to say something. I needed to get it out. You know what I mean? And it seriously, once it reaches a certain point where you're like, I can't go on without making this, no matter how good or bad it may be.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, don't you think? That's the way to be, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think it's a huge. I just think it's like the easiest way to failure. It's just like taking the easy road. You know?
The easy. Yeah, but if something hits, man, and that's something that.
And I guess that's what you bank on. You do 15, 20 years for an overnight success or something, maybe.
Well, and I don't know if anything hits besides Nickelback. I don't think anything hits unless there's like true passion behind it. It's kind of just timing and luck, and it's a bunch of things. But if the creator doesn't believe in what he's doing it for someone else, I don't know how that works. Besides Nickelback. And they're pretty successful, you guys.
Hey, man, I just read an article on Barstool that the girl who's on Grey's Anatomy was just like, no, I just want to make paychecks for 15 years and be the lead role and not make creative choices. So I guess there's...
Sure. She's not the storyteller, though, right?
Yeah, it's true. I guess you got to decide what you want to do.
Well, it's that's probably for most game show hosts. Steve Harvey
that's exactly what they said, bro. They said those people work 46 days a year, which is actually pretty solid paycheck. 46. Well, they only work technically kind of 1 week a year, right? Like, don't they?
I have no idea how that works.
I think, or well, what they say? They said in this Barstool article, they named two people like Trebek and like Pat Sajak or someone else who hosts a game show, and they said they only work
Right.
46 days a year. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so they only work once a week, those people on those shows? I thought it was
That
every
makes
night.
sense. No, that makes sense, because they're not. Pat's not worth that. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I'll spend like 6 hours. Like, what's this guy's net worth? What's Pat up to? How many pontoon boats does this guy have? And I'm like, oh, not that impressive. I'm like, 14 million? It's not that much.
Man.
Spinning a wheel.
Jeez, I just saw, yes, for sure. Hard to compare what I'm about to say, but I just saw someone Joey Bosa signed a $135 million contract over 5 years, like $27 million a year or something. Top defensive. I know that's the top defensive player, but my God, man, it's just
no fans in the seats.
Oh yeah, so you're a football. I mean,
no, I don't watch any sports.
Have you been watching hockey or baseball since it's been back?
Dude, I watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. That's it.
Really?
My family watches all sports. I watch zero.
Wow.
I watch the Super Bowl for the commercials.
But you played. You said you played.
I love playing.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Crazy.
Yeah, I just never got into watching it.
Crazy. I love betting on NFL. I love it. And fantasy.
Yeah. You were doing pro line when we were in college, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were the first.
I always
guy.
Loved it.
Does this guy know that I don't?
Nothing. No, apparently nothing, because I probably evened out or definitely lost.
Yeah, I'm super glad that you reached out. I think it was a couple of years ago, you gave me that email. I was like, man, that's the one dude I connected with in film school. Yeah. And you reached out, and I was like, cool. And then we've talked a few times in between there, but yeah, this was fun, man. What a great way to catch up. Here's some stories.
For sure. I'm kind of realizing that.
Yeah, this is.
I never knew. I was just like, yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, I was like, it's the thing about films being too expensive. But I was just like, well, what can I do? And I was like, well, I know a lot of people. I'll just fucking call some people up and talk. And then I realized from doing it, I'm like, oh shit. And it acts as a form of catching up, but you're also covering shit, and hopefully. But then we're also supporting each other's fan bases, because through the follows and stuff like that, the cross follows and cross promotion.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just build this shit. Like I said, I'm on episode 4. I'm just growing now. Like, my plan is not to quit. It's to at least keep going, because this is kind of what I'm doing right now. Like, I never used to like podcasts. I never really watched podcasts. I found a few, like Spittin' Chicklets for hockey, and a few film ones. And then I'm just like, oh shit, you know what? Maybe I didn't like it because I want to do it rather than, like kind of like you with sports, rather than watching it, you want to do it. Mm-hmm. And that kind of clicked. I was like, maybe it's the perfect time to fucking get going on that. So yeah, giving her to go and testing her out anyways.
Right. Okay. One last question. How tall are you actually? Do I just remember you as being like
6'5",
7 feet? You're 6'5". Yeah. That's exactly. I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Huge MF.
It's a gift and a curse.
It was a gift in that battery commercial. I'll tell you that much right now.
Oh shit, that battery commercial. I could tell you some good shit about that battery commercial. Like, all the way from the audition, knowing that I booked it, even like at the audition, like knowing I killed it. Like I said, I'm a good judge.
Did you do that voice? Did you do that voice in the audition?
Oh, yeah, had to. And that's what got me the job. They told me. That's funny. They told me when I went to do the wardrobe fitting, they sat down with me and they were so excited to sit with me. And they were like, so like, was that voice, like that was a conscious choice, right? And I was like, yeah, like it said, because I got the side. Here's the crazy thing is how stupid actors are and shitty they are. And it makes me feel for casting agents, how they have to deal with these people, because they never even read the fucking sides. It says that he's like this, it said right in the sides that you get, like just the one pager, that he's this scary monster with a harmless voice or something along those lines. Like I made the connection. Everyone else should have. And the problem with that voice is I was like, oh geez, this harmless voice. So I got room ready. I was practicing in front of the mirror. I was doing the voice. And then I was like, okay, this voice is really hard. This is really hard. Like I can do it here in front of the mirror, but how am I going to have the confidence to do it in front of, 15, 20 people on set?
Right.
And whatever, so So I basically, how I got super into it. Once I knew that I was comfortable with it, got the call back, nailed the call back. Once I booked the role, got super scared and was like, now I got to deliver. Now I really got to know what I'm doing, not just audition, know what I'm doing. Cause there's a difference. There's like a difference of hooking the role, getting the role with a hook, and then making the role.
They're counting on you. Right.
Make it a character, not just a one-off piece or something, or a one-off little line. So yeah, they're counting on me, and there's money. And that's exactly the way I looked at it. I said, these people are investing in me. I got to fucking deliver. And so then I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre off the hook for that week. I basically had a week to perform or to prepare. I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the 2013 one, I think, with Jessica Biel. I like that one. But I just like.
But you're more the size of like Jason from the new Halloweens.
Yeah, but I knew I'd come back from. Oh shit! I know who you're talking about. Did you see that Danny McBride? You saw that new Halloween, Danny McBride, and he produced it, but David Gordon Green directed it. It's pretty good.
No, Danny McBride produced it?
Yeah, they produced the Halloweens.
It's bizarre.
The new ones. Yeah, the new ones. They're pretty good. Halloween? Michael Myers? Is that Halloween?
Not Jason. Yeah, Michael. Yeah. I said Jason.
So, but I came back from the wardrobe fitting and I knew the getup I was wearing because I put a bunch of different things on in the wardrobe fitting. And they picked the thing that I wanted to wear. They had some fucking other terrible costumes. I was like, oh God, I hope they don't pick this.
Yeah.
So I got back, I was like, oh, I'm kind of a Texas Chainsaw guy. I knew I was going with the angle of the voice being Southern light. That's what I called it. Oh, hey, oh, hey, how's it going? So I knew that and I was like, okay. And I was watching Texas Chainsaw just for like motion and character and just getting ideas and stuff like that. Just trying to infuse my life for that week with this role. And I watched Freak Show in Harold and Kumar. He was a huge influence. Huge. Oh yeah. It helped me be like, oh yeah, this is kind of how kooky, this is the turn that I make. I go from Texas Chainsaw, I go from Leatherface to Freak Show.
Right.
He's like, I can hear every word you're saying. When they're in the car, his pimples are boiling. It's all comedic. He's out there dancing. He's like, oh, Jesus, Lord, save me. He's singing his songs. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the twist. And so I was like infusing all that in myself. And then I was also like, since you got to deliver, guaranteed they're going to, because here's where the bonus of being on set for other projects as a location manager or a PA or a crew person, where I've learned a lot along the way. I said, they're going to ask you to do improv. They're going to ask you to do more than just what's on the page here. And you got to prepare, especially in this voice. Because if you can't talk in that voice for other words that are in the script,
right,
then that's a huge fuck up.
Right.
So I was like, you have to become this character. So essentially I'm like, how do you become this character? So I just started narrating everything I was doing around the house. So I was like, you got to get past the script and start knowing how to speak in words when they're just like, hey, give us this line. And I'm like, oh God, so I was like, oh, I'm just going to go over here now and fill up this little glass, a little drink, have a little sippy, and do this and do that or whatever, and just get used to the voice. Cause it's not a voice that I want to do or intend to do ever other than for that one means. So it's hard to get comfortable with that kind of thing.
For sure. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so much, and then just so much stuff on set, like, because I'm not a person who wants the attention to be on him. So it's weird to want to be an actor and do that role.
Kind of complete opposite, yeah.
Yeah, like, so if I book a role, I'm like, oh, fuck. And then you got to deliver. And then the thing is, I learned how to be a pro from the guys on Letterkenny because they were roughly the same age as me and they were becoming stars in front of my eyes. And every day they would show up on set, shake everybody's hand, look them in the eye, create those bonds, remember everyone's name. And I was like, fuck, how do these guys get any work done? Every time I look at them, they're shaking hands in circles. They just go in circles. Hey, how you going? Hey, how you doing? Hey, hi, nice to meet you. Hey, oh, you're doing a great job. Like, I was like, fuck, how do these guys get any work done? Like, they're such pros, they taught me.
That's cool.
And I was able to take that and infuse it into that set that day because I'm not a pro. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got to be the star or the lead this day. So I was like,
that's cool, man.
Smiley face guy. And
that's cool. You adapted that. I like that. You know, the bald guy with the tattoos on Letterkenny, the tough dude, tough guy. I think season 1, he punches him out at the end, punches out the main guy.
Yeah. That's
my brother-in-law. That's my
Jay?
wife's. Yeah, Jay. That's my Jay Burton.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's hilarious. Oh man. I did the first 2 seasons of that as location manager.
No way. That's cool.
Yeah, it was season 1 was just a blast. Season 1 was just epic. So much fun on set, off set. Very few productions, man. Very few productions you work on that are actually fun to work on and turn out to be a success too. Very few.
Yeah.
That was one. I worked in the industry for like 10 years before I was lucky enough to be out. And like, the thing is now it's overwrought. It's in like 9 seasons. Everyone working in Sudbury is so desperate to, cause they do like 2 or 3 seasons. Yeah. Cause they do like 2 or 3 seasons a year.
Oof.
And just churn them out, pump them out because they're on some 76 episode deal or something like that.
Holy crap.
Which it must be great for paychecks or whatever, but it's just kind of become overwrought. Like everyone up there is so desperate to work on the biggest hit show. Blah, 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 blah. You know, It's just like, ugh, get away from me, you sickos.
It was interesting. It was interesting how that kind of popped off at the same time as Schitt's Creek. What do you think of Schitt's Creek?
I don't like it. My brother wrote on it for, I think, 1 season.
What?
I think he wrote on it for the first season.
I didn't know your brother.
Maybe the second too. I don't know. But no, I don't like it. I don't know. It's just not there's certain things I like about it. I love Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy, and I love Chris Elliott in like Something About Mary and Scary Movie 2 with the hand.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like I think I like some of the actors. I don't know.
What about Catherine though? She's one of the all-time greats, man. Really?
Oh, she definitely is. Like Home Alone is incredible. She's incredible in Home Alone. I almost don't think like maybe, I'm sure they do, but like she's Canadian, right? And like she was the biggest like mom star. Like those movies were insanity. Those were the most pivotal roles in some ways. Mm-hmm. Her role as that mom in that movie. That whole movie is about the whole, like Home Alone 1 at the end. He's like, Mom? Mm-hmm. Comes to Kevin. You know, like, and even two was about the mom too. It's really about, there's so much going on in those movies. They're so entertaining, but it was really about that. She's amazing. Love her. Eugene Levy in American Pie. Love him. But just that show for some reason, I don't know. I don't like a lot of modern television, man. Like you were saying, Netflix, that we were talking about the different things. Like Netflix only puts out, original. Now they only put out original series. They used to put out movies by other people, but now Netflix is just all Netflix. And when they first started doing that, I remember everything they put out was like a bit of a smash. I was like, oh, okay, this stuff's good. And then they didn't care. They stopped caring. They're like, hey, it doesn't have to be good. It's Netflix. Just exactly. That's the thing, is it doesn't have to be good anymore. They're just putting stuff out.
Do you remember that era when it was like Netflix original? You're like, oh boy, here we go. And that didn't last very long.
No, now everything is Netflix original. One thing I am watching on it right now is Fear City, the mob thing. They've got some wiretaps of some mob episodes. I don't know if you... Is that a drama or is that a... It's a doc.
Oh, I did see the trailer and I'm going to go home and watch that tonight. Yes! You just made my night. I've been looking forward to that one.
It's pretty good. I will say that they use a lot of repeated wiretap audio recording like within the same episode. Like sometimes I'm like, I fucking heard this recording 5 times already. God damn it. Like how long are you
Johnny's at the bar. I said Johnny's at the bar. You said Johnny's at the bar.
They're just stretching these episodes out to be an hour. They could probably be a half hour, but they're still, it's mob photos and doc. And that's the cool thing, is there are some cool photos and stuff that I probably haven't seen before, because I've watched so much mob stuff. I feel like I've seen it all.
Right. Unsolved Mysteries. You watch it?
Oddly enough, probably used to watch it back in the 90s a little bit. Oddly enough, just started checking it out of pure boredom recently. I love the guy. I would love to make a spoof of this thing where he's like, she was alone. He's in his trench coat near like a river or something. He's got his perfect coif for his hair. And he's always like, she was alone. She didn't tell anyone she was going to meet this guy down by or whatever. Like, it's just so good. Like, it's so Troy McClure. You know,
totally.
It's so that. It's great.
And it was going to be the last night of her life.
If only she knew, maybe she wouldn't have made the call.
Yeah. But then I can't believe they kept the music. They kept the music. What a call that was. Amazing.
What did
I love. They kept the original music from like 20 years ago or whatever it was.
Oh wait. Oh, see, I don't even see.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure I'm watching the 20 years ago one with the guy from on Prime.
Yeah, they have the. Oh yeah, they got the original.
That's what I'm watching. Is the old guy? He's like,
there's new stories now, man. There's new stories.
Oh, fuck.
And the thing about the new stories is now, you remember like Don't Fuck with Cats or the Stephen Avery, how to make a murderer.
I remember Stephen Avery.
So there's all these internet detectives. So now with the new Unsolved Murders, there's like a million people out there on the internet like, I'm going to solve this one. Right. And you just know like if they do say 8 or 12 in a season, one of them's getting solved, baby. And that's what
That is pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet.
And it's
pretty cool how Patton Oswalt's wife solved the Golden State crime. I'd love to know. I know there's a bunch of stuff.
What are you talking about? She has something to do with that?
Well, his she passed away though. Patton Oswalt's wife was like a writer. He's remarried now. This was a couple of years ago. But she was like a writer and doing an investigation on the Golden State serial killer. And through her book that she wrote and investigations, the police ended up solving the case.
I heard nothing about this.
And it turned out to be an ex-cop. He was like 73 or something, and DNA solved it, and it was an ex-cop or something.
I listened to the podcast. He was a monster. He was a serial killer and rapist. That guy was like he was Satan, that guy.
It's pretty crazy that, yeah.
That's something Brian doesn't know. I'm smarter than Brian. I can't wait to throw this at him. Like, you know that Patton's.
Has Brian been back there the whole time?
Yeah, Brian? He's holding socks.
Because every time you referenced him, you were pointing to the back room. Like,
well, that's
you keep him back there.
That's his desk. Hey, Brian, come on now. Say hi to the fans.
He's been there. He's been in the room the whole time.
What's going on, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, this guy doesn't know anything about football. Don't worry about that.
So that's what I've been up to lately.
Okay. Well, the end. Oh boy! You know what? When we started, I was gonna wear a mask.
Dude, I wrote down this one thing here that if we started, I wanted to be like, oh, okay, we got Matt Popowich here from Westfort Films. welcome. And Matt, I just wanted to let you know that this was actually all a ploy to get you here. This is not really a podcast. This is actually an intervention. If you look behind you, Brian, everyone, Brian, Matt's family, please come. Yeah,
I fucking knew it. Son of a bitch. Oh, man.
I don't know. And I definitely wasn't going to follow through with it even. But I just wrote it down. I was like, that'd be a stupid piece of shit idea.
That would have scared me. Wait a second.
And if you look behind you, Matt.
Yeah. Front windows where I just showed you.
Yeah. It's COVID times. Your family decided to call me and just an impartial spectator to run the meeting.
Yeah. Okay, everyone has a letter. Oh, everyone hush. Take your turns.
Oh, man. Well, this is fucking great. Thanks for doing this. And, buddy.
Anytime, man. So
glad to hear that things are going well and see that you're doing well and everything. And
same with you, man. That's really cool. I'm glad that you're still, I'm glad that out of anyone that's in the industry, I'm glad it's you. That's really freaking sweet. And I'm pumped to see that stuff. I'm pumped to see that stuff that you did. So definitely.
I'll send it to you right when we finish this right now.
Excellent. I'm going to watch it tonight then.
Cool, dude. Okay. Well, this is it. That is that. Signing off. Where can people see your stuff? Instagram and social media and website and that type of thing. So I can throw in a little plug here.
Go to our website, and it's westfortproductions.com, and then all the links will be on there.
Beauty.
And if you guys like Westfort, we got a bunch of new Westfort merch. We're gonna start selling on Monday. Hats like
Sweet.
this.
I should get me some of that.
You should.
You guys shipping?
We'll ship.
Or is it just local stuff?
Oh, first T-shirts on me for you. Let me show you the first. Well, we've done T-shirts before, but I'll show you this new one.
Oh, sick. What is that on there? The train?
That's the Bum Bridge. That's right across the street from us.
In
the heart
Bridge?
of Westfort. Yeah. Literally the
Sick.
best view in town. The Popowich boys. The Brown Street Bridge. Right across the corner from Westfort Productions.
Oh man, a lot of detail just in that shirt there. That's great.
That's Heather Cranston. That's our pal Heather that does all of.
What did she do? She did the poster in the front too. Is that it?
She did the poster. Yeah, she does.
So she's dynamite. Yeah.
She's unreal, man. Super talented.
That's one thing that I love about, starting our own business like this. Like I find I'm reaching out to composers and just designers for banners or things that you need, or graphics, all these things for your website. Or it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It costs money and you got to pay these people for their things, but a lot of talented people out there. And it's kind of cool infusing all that in, making it a part of your business too.
Yeah, for sure. And the people that we've used that we're happy with, like we don't have to shop around anymore. And we don't try and master everything now. I don't want to do graphic design. So we get her, and I don't mix audio. So we got my buddy in Kelowna who does audio, and it's something I used to want to master everything. And I trust the pros now. I should probably hire people to shoot and edit too, I guess.
Man, that's what a lot of I'm like, oh, fuck, I just wish I could just hire someone for so much. Even this thing, like you just doing this podcast takes up so much time between doing some research, like I said, filming it. I think I said this on the last episode, filming it, editing it, uploading everything, doing all the details and the descriptions and everything. Guys, you need a team. It's no wonder these people like Barstool and all the, even small things, like you got to have a team of people doing this stuff, man. Like, you can't be Superman or whatever,
Yeah. Not if you're doing a few a week, get burned out, man.
Yeah, I'm doing once a week right now. Trying to spread them out and manage them with work and everything that's going on too.
Right. Yeah,
but trying to keep putting out content too, Don't want to have, I think there was like 8 days at one point between posting interviews, and I was like, oh fuck, that's probably a little long,
Right.
Whatever. Easy problems to have, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Hey, buddy. Well, this is me. And turning the wrong way. And the socks. There they are. Me and the socks. Right? Oh, there they are. Me and the socks. Signing off.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron, for listening. I hope you learned something.
So good. Thanks.
Please keep in touch.